Welcome back to Chicken Chat, where you will find poultry health videos, breed information, and more. Be sure to subscribe. Hey everybody, I am back. I apologize for the long wait for a new video, but I was going through some major health issues, and honestly, I was bitter at YouTube for changing their regulations and their rules. They kept changing things, like I said on a previous video, and they now require you to have a website in order to make money off your videos. And I didn't have the time nor the desire to start and maintain a website. So they took my funding away, which really hurt, because if you follow my videos and my story, you know that I rescue animals, and the money that I did make helped provide food for those animals. I do have a web page on Ko-fi.com. That is a service that helps creators still make money from people who want to just give a little and help out people who make videos and create different types of content. It's called Buy Me a Cup of Coffee. There's actually a link at the top of my YouTube page on the About section, and you just hit on the Ko-fi, that's Ko-fi. If you want to help support me and everything that I do for animals, I would greatly appreciate it. Anyways, as far as my health struggles, that's a bit interesting, and it does relate to chickens. You know, again, if you follow my videos, you know that I use a lot of vitamins and minerals to keep my flocks healthy. And a lot of those supplements are on the market for humans. And so I was using these vitamins to help manage Marek's disease in the past and help cure mycoplasma and various things. And so when I was dealing with my health problems, I thought to myself, okay, why don't I make some changes and take these supplements myself and see what happens, because I actually had a pretty big cancer scare, and I had so many bad symptoms going on. So I switched to mostly a non-GMO diet. There's just so many chemicals in our food in the US, and I started taking these supplements, and all of my symptoms went away. So these things work for my flocks, and man, it made such a huge difference in my life too. I'll do a future video telling you what I give my chickens and what I used for myself when there's health struggles going on. But anyways, this video is about myths and misconceptions about chickens. So there's 7 things I'm going to cover quickly. The first thing that a lot of people think, especially if they've never had chickens before, is chickens are smelly and gross. Well, I guess they can be, but I feel like that's the case for any animal. If you clean the coop reasonably and often, and you got any chickens that might have what I call poopy tail, where they got like poop stuck on them, clean them up, clean your coops. Chickens do not have to be smelly and gross. Like, that is just not true at all. I honestly just spot clean my coops every single morning. Maybe that sounds like a lot of work, but it honestly only takes me like 15 minutes. And I've had people come here and see my animals and see my coops, and they say, wow, your chickens don't have any smell. That's because I keep them clean. The second myth that I think a lot of people, especially maybe people who are new at keeping chickens, they say, well, my chickens don't have parasites, they don't have worms because I don't see any worms in their poop. I don't see any worm eggs in the poop, and they don't have runny poop. Well, I can tell you for sure from experience that is not true. One thing that I do is I help other people with their sick and ailing chickens. I've helped Tractor Supply with their chicks for years. There's a traveling farm vet in Wisconsin that gives out my phone number for people looking for help. And I have a video about this. The best thing that I have ever purchased for my flocks was a microscope, because I can check samples. I can check fecal samples for other people needing help. And I can't tell you how many times I have seen worm eggs under the microscope and people swore, my chickens are healthy, I don't see any worms. So that is not true. They can still definitely have parasites, even if their poop looks fine. Now, this next myth might shock you. The first time I read it, I was shocked. Some people say if you put a little bleach in the chicken's water, it's a cure-all. It'll cure any parasites, it'll cure any illness. Now, I tend to see this comment from the older generations. Maybe this is people who had chickens back in like the 60s and the 70s when it was harder to get help for chickens. I'm not sure. I would never ever put bleach in my chickens' water. How do we know that that's not burning their throat as they're drinking that? And how do we know that's not damaging their organs at all? I just don't think it's safe, and I think it's a kind of strange concept to do that. The next thing I would address is that some people think all roosters are mean and aggressive. I, over the years, have rescued roosters. The guy behind me, you can only see his tail, he was left in a hardware store parking lot. Nobody wanted him and they just dumped him, which is something that unfortunately people do. They just dump a chicken off when they don't want it anymore. And it was totally their loss because he's gorgeous, he's super sweet, he will help raise chicks. So with that being said, I've had many roosters and I've been around many roosters. And I would say less than 10% have been aggressive, but it also depends on how you interact with them, how you raise them. I do have a video on how to try and tame aggressive roosters if you need help with that sort of thing. So we are in by my other flock now, so you can see my other chickens. Another myth, I think, and this is kind of partially true and partially not true, is using additional light in wintertime will give you more eggs from the hens. Now, okay, so that's partially true because if you try to give them light to trick them to think the days are longer, they'll consistently lay eggs versus taking a break from laying the eggs when it's just natural light and the days are shorter. However, the problem I have with this is hens are genetically predisposed to lay so many eggs in their lifetime. So really, in a way, yes, you're getting more eggs temporarily, but you're not getting more eggs in the long run. Like, those hens are going to just lay so many eggs and then stop laying eggs. So in the long run, you're like shortening the amount of time that you will get eggs from that hen. Now, this next one might shock you because I was kind of blown away. I have read a couple of comments from people who say if you let your chickens eat styrofoam, like foam insulation, it will promote feather growth while they're molting. Oh my gosh. Come on now. That's like the dumbest thing I've ever read over the years about chickens and super unsafe. I once rehomed a Cochin Frizzle, super cute, but what I've found with my flocks is like the fancier chicken breeds, my flocks just pick on them. I mean, they're super cute, yes, but my flocks just don't accept that kind of chicken, I guess. Anyway, so I had to rehome that hen, and the new owner told me that the hen pecked at a bunch of foam insulation and it jammed up her crop. Of course, like that's what's going to happen. They can't move that foam insulation through their system. It's going to kill them if they eat too much. I have seen a lot of cases where people have that foam insulation inside their coops, and for whatever reason, I guess it's the texture, maybe it's similar to eating bugs, chickens will peck at that. No, I don't believe for a single second that it will help them grow more feathers, and I just think it's super unsafe. And lastly, the other myth I want to kind of touch on is some people think that you can always introduce new baby chicks under a broody hen without issues, and you can always slip new adult chickens into the coop at night when it's dark, and then in the morning everybody's just going to get along. Now, I do realize that it can work. It can work. And it has worked for some people. But I've heard some horror stories of it not working. For instance, I know somebody who has a big farm, and this person, like their chicken hatched a bunch of baby chicks and they didn't want to keep them. So they snuck over to this farm and put the baby chicks under mama hen at night. Well, in the morning, all those chicks were dead. It just doesn't always work 100% of the time. I know. So there you have it. 7 chicken myths that I just don't think are true. You might disagree, but my experience has kind of shown me differently. I've been rescuing chickens and had chickens for 9 years now. So I appreciate you watching. More videos to come, and I appreciate your support. Thank you so much.